Are you new to Las Vegas or the Las Vegas area and finding it's a little harder to make friends out here than you thought? If so, don't worry, you're not alone. It can be pretty difficult to meet people and make connections without a more intentional effort. So in this video, I want to share some of my tips and advice on making friends and meeting people when you're new to Las Vegas. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Sunshine. Yes, that is my real name. And I've lived here in Las Vegas for about 10 years now. And I just really enjoy giving my thoughts and perspectives and living in this unique little city. Which, by the way, if you want to get some broader thoughts on that, I do have a part 1 and part 2 on living in Las Vegas and kind of just like my thoughts about living here. If you haven't seen those videos yet, feel free to check them out in the cards. But anyway, the thing about living in Las Vegas is that it is pretty spread out for a city. You know, you have all your different neighborhoods and parts of town that you function in, some places that you frequent, some places that you will never touch unless you have a reason to be there. And that can honestly make it kind of difficult to just meet people and get involved in a community. So you really do have to make an intentional effort. If you're new here, or even if you're not new here, if you just kind of sit back, go to work and go home, then you'll find that one day you'll just realize that you have been hard pressed to make connections and friends out here. Honestly, from my personal experience, that happened to me where I kind of just realized, whoa, a lot of my friends that I did have back in the day are now in different places, and I kind of just realized that. But then I kind of got in this place where I realized that as comfortable as I am with my city, friendships and connections don't just happen. And you can very well go a good few years without making a new friend. Again, that most of the time doesn't really have as much to do with you, but kind of with just like the landscape and the layout of the city, because as I said, it's so spread out, there's kind of different bubbles. I did mention in a previous video that I will be making a separate video on the different neighborhoods and areas of Las Vegas, so make sure you're subscribed if you're interested in staying tuned for that. While I can't guarantee that these are some foolproof ways for you to go out and make some new friends around here, I'm just going to share some tips and ideas that have personally helped me in my experience, or things that I've seen help other people. So without further ado, here they are. The most common way that I've noticed that people make friends out here is honestly through work. But hey, not everyone has a traditional job that they clock into. Some of you maybe are stay-at-home parents or work from home or work remotely, which is why you're watching this video. So aside from that, I would say the first great way to meet locals specifically, and not just travelers or tourists that are coming in and out, because we do have a lot of those, are through local events. One of my favorite ways to keep track of what's going on in town or what's happening for that week is through this really awesome Instagram account called @NothingToDoLV. From what I know, they are a little bit more specific to downtown events, but downtown is the place where locals hang out nonetheless. If you're into art, music, and food especially, then that is a great Instagram account to follow. I believe they also have a website that always lists their upcoming and current events. So that's a really helpful one. Another thing that helps is to really zero into your interests and then find businesses that are in the realm of that interest. So a few examples that I can think of off the top of my head are the Writer's Block, Cafe Lola, and the Velveteen Rabbit. For those who are really into books, reading, literature, and writing, the Writer's Block is a really great local business downtown. It's a bookstore shop. I keep wanting to say bookstore and shop. It's a bookstore in downtown Las Vegas that is not only super cute, highly recommend that you go check it out because it's really unique and quirky and artsy, but they also fairly frequently host local events to kind of just gather the writing and reading community. I believe they have like book clubs and writing workshops. Even in the summertime, I think right now they are having ongoing writing workshops for the kiddos. But aside from that, they also have like readings and nights with the author. There's also a really new and hip happening cafe out here in Vegas called Cafe Lola. It's gained so much popularity as a cafe because aside from them being an extremely Instagrammable cafe, you know, they also host some really great local events now and then. You know, aside from their aesthetics and everything, they're a really unique cafe in that they host events on marketing. I think they had like a Pinterest dream board event where you could sign up to, you know, make a dream board at the beginning of the year. But I've been noticing that they put on just fun events like that cater to people that are into networking, marketing, crafts. And then another fun little place that hosts local events is the Velveteen Rabbit. That's also a downtown business, so it's a little bit in a different area than what most people know downtown to be as, which is like kind of the Fremont Street area. The Velveteen Rabbit is this kind of like hidden little bar on Charleston and Main Street. Aside from being a really cool bar, they also, if you go to their website, always just has a calendar of events coming up. For example, let's see what they have going on right now as I'm making this video. They actually have a tab that says events, weekly events. They have a first Friday, which is a dance party, a first Saturday, 80s night, second Thursday, second Friday, third Saturday, fourth Saturday, so on. And then they also have curated events. Looks like they even have like some Shakespeare performances coming up. So yeah, that's just another example of a local business that's pretty plugged into its community and likes to curate events for locals. But I would just really suggest just finding businesses that cater to your own interests. Another really great way to do that, to find not only events that are within your interests, but groups that specifically meet up based around that interest, is this website called Meetup.com. So I know that sounds like a dating website, but it's not. This is also something that's available pretty much anywhere you go. It's not just exclusive to Las Vegas. So I guess it's kind of one of those general pieces of advice on how to meet people anywhere you go. But I will say there is a pretty active meetup community here in Las Vegas. There are a lot of meetup groups around here. So for example, if you're really into yoga or coding or hiking, just go to meetup.com, make your profile, and then you can find all these different interest groups. It doesn't even have to be a standard activity necessarily. I've seen meetup groups for like ladies who like to brunch. Ladies, you can find your brunch groups on there. Book clubs, all that jazz. Now this next way is a little bit more of a unique way and kind of going to be a hit or miss. But I found in my experience that when you go to cafes, because side note, I am a cafe fiend. But there are some cafes around here that kind of have like a co-working or co-group table. I don't know if a lot of people out there have ever seen those. Makers and Finders downtown is one that has that. You can end up like just overhearing conversations and meeting people there, because that's kind of the point of that setup, is for you to be able to just meet and network. And one time I was actually sitting at that table, and the people there was a group sitting directly next to me, and they were talking about something really interesting, and I kind of just chimed in, was like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be nosy or interrupt, but I couldn't help but overhear that you guys were talking about this. I think it's really cool and really interesting, and just thought I would throw that in there. I actually got to talking to them and found out that they're actually a meetup group, and they meet at that table like every Sunday or something. So yeah, the meetup groups are out there. You never know when you'll just be sitting next to one. This even goes for, it doesn't even have to be a cafe, but this even goes for like if you're at a bar, instead of sitting at a more isolated table or booth, go sit at the bar. Talk to the bartender and talk to the other people around you. If you're into fitness or want to get into fitness, then the gym culture here is pretty real. There are a lot of gyms and fitness classes around here. I'm actually planning on doing a video on the gyms around here in Vegas. So again, stay tuned for that. But there's a lot of places, for example, like True Fusion, or just specialty fitness centers outside of your standard gym that have yearly contract-based memberships. But I think what's really great about going to classes specifically, not just going to the gym and working out, is that you do get to meet people. And with those regularly scheduled classes, if you go regularly, then you're gonna meet other regulars. Take a shot every time I say regular. But then again, even at some of the bigger local gyms, there are group classes, like, Zumba every Thursday, or like Pilates boot camp every whenever. So that's definitely a great way to not only, do something for your health, but to go out and meet people. Shameless plug, I've actually met some really great people at my Krav Maga gym. So a year ago, I started taking Krav Maga classes, which is also under that yearly contract membership format. I love it because of that regular schedule. And as I became more of a regular and going to those classes, I began becoming friends and connections with people in those classes, who then encouraged me to come to even more classes. I started going only to Krav Maga classes, and that's kind of snowballed into also going to Muay Thai classes or boxing classes, every once in a while MMA. So yeah, kind of just having that positive peer pressure and community motivation for something like that especially is also really nice. I know I keep saying that I'm gonna make videos on certain things, but once I get started talking about Krav, it's kind of hard for me to stop because I love it so much. So I'm also going to be going a little bit more in depth on that in this channel. Another really great way to get plugged into the community is through volunteer work. There are so many amazing organizations and nonprofits here in Las Vegas, and I feel like there's kind of something for everyone. So aside from doing positive work for your community, volunteering is also a great way to meet people from all over the city with kind of the same heart as you. And I do feel like there's an organization out there for everyone. If you love animals, there's the Animal Foundation, the Nevada SPCA, the NSPCA, I believe. I hope I didn't butcher that. New Hope Foundation International, previously known as Congo Justice, is an incredible organization that does a lot of work on anti-human trafficking at a local level, and then they also do a lot of education for the community. So I love them. I've gone to a few of their seminars and met some amazing people through there. Opportunity Village, also another incredible organization. I'm sorry, I'm just like fangirling over all of these so far. But they do some amazing work with adults with disabilities and are always looking for volunteers. Volunteering for them is also really fun because you don't necessarily have to volunteer to work with the community that they serve, but they usually put on really fun events too in order to raise money and awareness for the people that they serve. So one thing they do every year that's really popular in town is called the Magical Forest, where they transform their campus into just what it sounds like, into this amazing magical forest display. You know, there's a bunch of lights and holiday activities and rides and like carnival and street food. I believe Magical Forest also has like a Halloween version as well. And around that time, I believe they're always looking for volunteers to help like paint some of the sets or just like set some of the things up. So that's one thing that you can really get involved in. That's also fun. 3 Square is a food bank where one of the most popular volunteer activities is to just go and help prepare sandwiches to be distributed. I believe they are just a food bank where you would go and help with like pre-distribution. I don't know off the top of my head if they are distributors. If you can specifically through them go and, you know, hand out those sandwiches. But if you want to give back, but it's not your style to really be like on the front lines of sort of like food distribution, that is also a great way to still be a really big help and meet people while you're at it. One more organization I'll mention is the Las Vegas Rescue Mission. Volunteering at the Las Vegas Rescue Mission is great for those who actually do want to be on the front lines of serving the homeless community. They have a soup kitchen and cafeteria where you can help serve the homeless. That is just a few of the myriad of ways that you can get involved in the community and meet others around here as well. For the sake of my mentor slash second mom, I am gonna have to plug Autism Speaks. She's one of the chair people for that organization, and I know that they're always looking for volunteers for their Autism Speaks events, like their walks and just various events that they do across town. So if you're interested in signing up and volunteering for that, I'm gonna put a link in the description. Last couple ways that I can think of. This one's not for everyone, but it's effective nonetheless if it is for you. But just going to a local church or place of worship. There are a lot here in Vegas. It can be kind of hard to find like your home church here in Vegas, just because there's so many of them. There's actually a lot of really big churches and then a lot of really small ones, so it can take a while to kind of hop around. But if and when you do get plugged into one, you can get plugged into a really tight-knit community right away, and a lot of times they do things for the Las Vegas community as well to give back. I want to be clear, it's not my intent to impose any religious or spiritual beliefs on everyone. You know, you do you, boo-boo, whatever works for you. But I do want to plug one place for those who lean more towards Christianity, but not just Christianity, but kind of like progressive and more open-minded faith. I would highly, highly recommend Downtown Faith, which, as the name implies, is a church downtown. They're a fantastic little startup church whose mission is to really just integrate and reach downtown and build more of a community, I guess, like during the day downtown. But what's cool about Downtown Faith is that they mean when they say it's like a no judgment, welcome for everyone, for every mindset and spiritual or religious background. I know a lot of churches will say that and be like, oh yeah, like everyone's welcome, but then you get there and you have a little bit of a varying mindset, and then you just don't feel like you fit in at all. But I have brought atheist friends there and agnostic friends, and have met other people that are just like curious about faith and spirituality there, because Downtown Faith's big thing is that it's not a traditional church service where you like sit in pews, but it's kind of just like in this open space where you sit at tables and you have discussions, honestly, and really truly open discussions. You'll meet people from all different walks of life and all different faith backgrounds or no faith backgrounds at all, and you can give, it's honestly a safe place to give your honest thoughts and feelings on life and just discuss everything there is about life. Sometimes they also do this really unique event called, what's it called? Oh, they do a really cool event called Pub Theology, which I can almost guarantee that you've never heard a church do this, but it's where they meet up and invite others to meet up with them at a bar downtown called Bangor Brewing. And it's honestly super cool. I haven't been to many of them, but the ones that I have gone to, I have truly been able to meet and discuss just life and spirituality with, again, all ranges of people. It's super interesting. If you're interested in learning more about them, and even if you're not really interested in the whole like spiritual part of it, but just kind of like want to meet some chill people, that you can feel relieved of the pressure to not be hounded into some religious thing, I would go check them out. I'll leave their information in the description as well. Last but not least, this tip is a little bit more on the modern side, but if you're down for it, it can be effective, and that is through an app called Bumble BFF. So you may or may not have heard of Bumble, which originally started as a dating app, but it actually has different modes or sections that you can turn on and off or find. So they have Bumble Dating, and then they have Bumble BFF and Bumble Biz. I personally don't use the dating side of it, but I am on Bumble BFF and Bumble Biz. Those two modes are for people that are just looking for others in the area to be friends with and meet with, like over the app. And then on Bumble Biz, you can that's like a digital way to network with other small business owners or just people in your field. So yeah, honestly, this method could be a bit of a hit or miss, but what is really cool about it, at least on the Bumble BFF side, is I've noticed that I'd say about 80% of the people that you find on Bumble BFF are also new to the area, which is why they're there and looking for friends or people that have lived here for a while and haven't been able to make friends because they weren't as active on it. So you'll find people on there, and whether you are the type to kind of just like message back and forth for a bit at first, or just like start a meetup, you can go about that whichever way you want. I've actually gone to a few like Bumble meetups where some of the girls on there kind of just created a little like brunch or coffee meetup. I've been able to meet some really cool people on there, and I'm actually friends with quite a few of them today, so that's always nice. But yeah, that's about all that I have for you. I guess the main takeaway or moral of the story in all of this is to meet people in Vegas, you do just have to put out an intentional effort. Get out there, frequent the places that align with your interests, or visit the websites and find out what's happening around town in order for you to find some like-minded folk that you think you could vibe with. I really do hope that some of these tips help some of you out there that are new to the area or are just feeling stuck and trying to find new ways to kind of just get out there. If you found any value in this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure that you do subscribe for more Vegas related thoughts and things. But until then, thank you for sticking around this far, and we'll talk next time.